Tell me when.
Yeah, you're ready.
All right. Good morning, everyone. As Marines, I know that you are all very, very well aware of the important role that tobacco plays within the U.S. military. Tobacco is used as stress relievers. There we have it right there, of course. Tobacco is used as stress relievers, boredom fixers, and all around fixes for whatever ailment any kind of military member has. I myself used to use smokeless tobacco. I used it for about 8 years until I quit just after coming back from deployment. So today I'm going to talk to you guys about how prevalent tobacco use truly is in the military, and I'm also going to talk about how much it's costing the service members and our taxpayers, and then finally sum it up with what we've all known through various trainings is how terrible tobacco is to your health. So how prevalent tobacco use is. So a study that was done back in 2011 by the DoD was a study based on health-related behaviors in the U.S. military, found that 49.2%, so almost half of the U.S. military, uses some form of tobacco product. That is very substantial when you look at it in comparison to the civilian average, which is 21%. What's even more alarming is when you break it down and you look at it by the branches. So when you look at the Marine Corps alone, the Marine Corps uses, 30.8% of the Marine Corps smokes, which is pretty high. And then when you compare to the national average, which is only 19%. And then when you look at smokeless tobaccos, so chewing tobacco, dip, snuff, other kind of tobacco in that form, only a small percent of the civilian populace, so 3.2% of the civilian world uses smokeless tobacco. When you look at the Marine Corps has a whopping 21.3% average, which is almost double compared to all the other branches. For example, the Army, only 11% of the Army uses smokeless tobacco, 10% of the Navy, and 8% of the Air Force. So it's very high rates within the military, and basically what I'm going to talk about next is why it's possible that it's so high in the military compared to the civilian world. So how much does it cost the military, and why is it so available to military members? So DoD Instruction 1330.09 is the instruction that covers military exchanges and how their pricing policies are supposed to follow. So within that policy, it says that the military installations are not allowed to sell tobacco at a rate that's higher than the highest tobacco sales within the area, and no lower than 5% compared to the lowest prices in the area. A study that was done back in 2013 by the American Public Health Association found that only 4.6% of military exchanges were within that directive. Only 4.6% of the exchanges were within that 5% below or the maximum price for the local areas. In fact, on average, military exchanges sell tobacco for 13% cheaper compared to any of the other local areas. And in some cases, some packs of cigarettes, you can buy the same pack of cigarettes on base compared to out of town for $6 cheaper. So it's very available to military members, and I think because of that, it's kind of more appealing to any kind of military members that are trying to pass boredom or looking for stress relievers. When you look at it compared to the taxpayer's perspective, so back in 2008, the VA said that they spent $5 billion in 1 year just on smoking-related diseases. And the DoD spends on average, so for active duty members, $1.6 billion per year just on tobacco-related health issues. That is a lot of money that's going down the drain just because service members are using tobacco. All right, and then moving on to how tobacco affects your health. So we've all gotten countless training as Marines. I know that you've all sat through the boring class of tobacco cessation on MarineNet. Does anybody ever actually take anything out of that? I don't know. I know I didn't. I used tobacco and I still clicked through the class and saw that it was going to kill me. So a study that was done by tobaccofree.gov, which is a U.S. Department of Health and Human Services group that's kind of targeting, trying to really remove tobacco use within the U.S., found that 9 out of 10 lung cancer issues, or 9 out of 10 cases that were diagnosed, were solely rootly caused by smoking. So 9 out of 10, so that's pretty substantial when you look at it. That's 90% of all lung cancers were caused by smoking. Looking at smokeless tobacco has 28 carcinogens. It causes oral and pancreatic cancer, gum disease, tooth decay, and leucoplia, which is a precancerous lesion on the soft tissue of your gums. So your gums start to turn white and start to basically erode away. So it's very terrible for your health. When you look at it from a military perspective, it's basically degrading our endurance. So when you smoke, obviously it decreases your lung capacity and how much oxygen you can take in. And then also what it does is it increases your blood flow and your heart rate, which makes you more susceptible to off shot. So, what marksmanship perspective, it's inaccuracy. So, all right. So moving into basically summary of everything I talked about. So the prolific use of tobacco within the military is an issue that's costing the service members a lot of their money, as well as the taxpayers, and it's degrading our overall military health. I know from my own experience that when someone told me that I needed to stop tobacco, I didn't care because it was my life. So what you need to do is, if you do have someone that you care about, a friend, a family member that does use tobacco, you can't necessarily just tell them to stop using tobacco. You just kind of have to remind them what it is and let them make the decision for themselves, because nobody's going to quit unless they truly want to quit.